So I guess now I can start talking about the really insane thing about this map, and that is the Mintz event and how that works. So Mintz is going to be running full tilt towards the castle. Assuming that you don't block him, it will take him, he will reach the castle on turn 9. Depending on when you aggro the guards and when you finish the chapter, you will get, okay, I'll just describe it this way. There are 4 possible outcomes to, I suppose Zeke should be heading up there too, now that I think about it. There are 4 possible outcomes to this chapter. If Mintz does not reach the castle by turn 10, then Leonie will be executed. And she will die, you won't be able to recruit her, because she'll be dead, and Mintz will leave thinking that she's saved, because, there's a commotion at the castle and he'll assume she's escaped, but how wrong he is. This way you miss out on both of them. The second outcome occurs if you aggro the castle guards before Mintz reaches the castle on turn 9. This way, Leonie's execution is called off and Pavlov will begin to defend the throne. If this happens, you will recruit Leonie once you seize the castle. However, Mintz will leave after Pavlov comes out to guard the throne because he thinks that Leonie is safe. But here's where things get weird. I found some sources online that say if this happens, Leonie can recruit Mintz in the next Rudin chapter by visiting a house. I don't know if this is true, and I can't test this right now because it would require playing through a large batch of chapters. There's another weird thing about this that I'll get to later, but next I'll cover the third outcome. So, if you let Mintz enter the castle and then wait a turn, an event will happen and Mintz will rescue Leonie by himself. That is the sequence of events that I will be personally going for in this playthrough, and that's what's about to happen. But here is the interesting part, there is another possible outcome. If you seize the castle immediately after Mintz enters, then another event occurs, and you will recruit both Mintz and Leonie. You'll see this scene regardless. If you seize the castle after this scene, but before Pavlov guards the gate, then you'll recruit both Mintz and Leonie. However, if you do things this way, you will actually miss out on a support between the two of them. Because if you wait one more turn, wait for it. Here we go. Now for the weird thing I was talking about earlier. The guy who calls the boss out to the gate is actually the Armor Knight. If you kill him, it doesn't matter if you aggro the other enemies, Pavlov won't come out to guard the gate. So, don't worry, you haven't failed this. Mintz is gonna save her now. So, Leonie flees the map this way, but she doesn't actually miss out on much availability, because if she does flee, you can recruit her with Mintz in the next Ruden chapter. And at the point where you can recruit her, it's like at the very beginning of the map, and there are no enemies anyway. Essentially, there's almost no difference in her availability between recruiting her in this chapter and recruiting her at the start of the next chapter. So, I personally consider this version of the event the best one, because this way you don't lose any availability on Mintz and Leonie, practically speaking, and they get a support bonus with each other in the next chapter because Mintz rescued her here. So, if you haven't aggroed the guards by now, the guards will automatically aggro on their own. This event happens normally if you get into the guards' range before Mintz reaches the castle. But if you do that before he's entered, then Mintz will leave because he knows Leonie is safe. Now, Mintz has been captured and thrown into the dungeon, and we'll recruit him after we defeat Pavlov and seize the gate. So I hope all of that made sense. Yeah, it is pretty much impossible to see the worst possible outcome of this scenario, Leonie outright dying and you being unable to recruit Mintz either, unless you actively go out of your way to block Mintz. Because it has to take until, like, turn 10. I need to turn Raffin's animations back on, without you going into range of the castle's guards. So it is just, it's very, you know, it's not likely to happen, unless you're intentionally trying. But again, like, the outcome that is the hardest to get by far, in my opinion, is the one where you immediately recruit both of them. You have to seize the castle. I just want to reiterate this because a lot of guys have this information wrong, and they say that that if you recruit Mintz early, you can't get Leonie early, and vice versa. How it works is that when Mintz enters the castle, and you see the event where he goes to the dungeon, but you have not yet seen the event where he goes to the courtyard and saves Leonie from the stake. You then have one turn to seize the castle, and if you do that, you will skip the event where he rescues her, and you will simply recruit both of them immediately when you seize the castle and end the chapter. I've got footage of that, and I feel like that footage is somewhat rare because it's kind of quite an uncommon situation to have happen. But again, in my opinion, it's actually not worth it, because there's no practical change in Mintz and Leonie's availability. They're both, like, in realistic terms, only available from the start of the next map anyway, and you miss out on a support bonus between the two of them. So yes, I hope that explains the saga of Mintz and Leonie and that whole mess. So, again, 4 outcomes. You either recruit both, recruits Mintz now and Leonie later, recruit Leonie now and maybe miss recruiting Mintz, or you lose both of them. But to reiterate, there is really no difference in their availability between either option 3 or option 4. And that's why I prefer to go for option 4. Wait for Mintz to enter the castle, wait one turn, and then recruit Leonie now and Mintz in the next Ruden chapter. That way they get a support increase with each other, and again, no real change in either of their availability. And there's no outcome where Leonie dies but you recruit Mintz. Yeah. So, that's basically how it all works. And with that, the only one left here is Pavlov, and I have... Oh, he has 4 men. I think he's still... No, he will still exactly die to Starlight. I mean, I could use Naren for maximum overkill, but I just want to vaporize him with Starlight because he deserves it. Oh, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do, which is turn on Raffin's battle animations. Can I just bask in the glory of Naren right now? He's pretty amazing. I don't really think there's anything else that I want to buy here. And Plum's gone. Oh yeah, there's the Wyvern Flute. I mean, I suppose I can trade it to someone. It doesn't really matter who has it. It's going in the convoy after this map. I mean, you know, if you wanted, you could try and fight these guys for experience, but I don't recommend it. And also, you'll just waste turns having that guy physic people. I wonder if it is possible to beat Ernst in this map. If it is, then you probably have a situation like I'm guessing it's more like Garen in Fates, where he just retreats, or Julius in FE4. I don't think it's gonna be like you know Desay, where it's like, heh, you fools, what you defeated was simply Lord Ernst's double. I love that. I love how he's a body double, but only if you beat him early. Okay, my accuracy is slightly shaky, but I'm gonna do this, because it will one-shot him. And this is gonna be extremely satisfying. Oh yeah, we're actually seeing the Duke class for the first time. And weirdly enough, the Duke class shares its well, I mean, it's dismounted by default, but it shares its sprite with a dismounted version of a really amazing class we'll be seeing later. So this guy doesn't deserve to share a class with, to share a sprite with this amazing class at all. Please explode and die. Thank you! It's a shame that you can't actually have Mintz deal the final blow himself. Hodgepodge is a funny word. Well, we are no hodgepodge. We are... Well, we are Zeeg, Naren, Raffin. They're really the only three of this party, apart from, I guess, Mariel, that I'm actually training at this point, seriously, but... They're really all I need, and I think that should be everything, so now I can safely seize the gate. And with that, Ernst just abandoned Pavlov to his fate, as he deserves. So overall, yeah, a very weird chapter. An extremely weird chapter. And now, to show the alternate outcomes of this event that I recorded in advance. And here's the one that will be canon to this series. So the ending of this chapter will vary a lot based on how the Mintz-Leonie event went. It's obviously a lot sadder if you blocked Mintz and Leonie ended up dying. You'll arrive just too late to see the fire burn out. Whereas if you seize on turn 9, you'll actually meet Mintz not in the dungeon. He'll actually see you in the castle's main hall. He'll give a very similar speech though. Well, I guess any friends of Arles are friends of ours. And yes, the Empire having a squad called the Black Knights who are portrayed sympathetically by the standards of their side. Obviously, these guys are based on the Sable Knights from Marth's games, who were actually literally just called the Black Knights in the Japanese version. There was actually an unused Black Knight class in those games' data that probably would have been used for Camus, so he was supposed to get his own personal class, I think. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but you were very quick to trust Zieg, though, who was originally from the cult. As they said, canon is very fractured right now. I mean, I see where he's coming from, though. It's definitely possible to be loyal to the country, but not to its monarch, and not to the current regime. So yeah, in his point of view, the Empire has betrayed Kanan. Personal reasons too, huh? Okay then. And we certainly will be able to, but we'll get to him later because technically I consider him to join at the start of the next chapter, not this one. He won't be able to fight until then anyway. Oh, him. Oh, Runen's got a little bit of snark in him, not nearly as much as Eugen and Holmes, but he has some. Congratulations on your victory! We, for one, welcome you as our overlords now! Yeah, they're gonna be quick to side with us now that we're the winners. Well, I guess the name of the subtitle of this game is going to make a little more sense now. So we are now officially an alliance of 4 nations. Already we've built up a pretty sizable force against the Empire. Feels like the tides are turning in the war already. Well, I mean, I feel like he is just kind of using that as propaganda to try and get people on his side, but at least he knows exactly what to say. Yeah, you know, I think we know the real reason why you're suddenly starting with us is, again, it's because we're winning. So, yeah, if you completed the chapter without killing these two, then they'll join automatically, even if you didn't have Raffin talk to them. But that's by far the worst outcome. Oh, because we're about to see the reason why you want Raffin to be on Runan's route, other than the fact that Raffin just does really well on this route. Yes, they'll always be open as long as we're doing well in the war and are paying you. Oh yeah, so after this chapter, there's actually a sequence of optional events, and this one only happens if you pick Naren at Welt and if you brought Naren to this party. Though I already would have explained this back during the route split. This is one of Naren's only story events too. It's just kind of a shame. For how good he is in gameplay, he doesn't really have a lot of story presence, and I almost feel like that's intentional. I kind of feel like they made Luca the real story recruit. Whereas Naren's more if you care about full gameplay. I don't know if Lee has any events later on. Oh yes, Eugen was definitely not mistaken at all. It's always kind of funny when, like, those Magikarp power characters still have self-confidence issues, even when they've grown into, like, gods of war. And yeah, that gives a 5% one-sided support from Runan to Naren. And this event is another exclusive event that you need to bring specific people to specific parties in order to see. Yeah, you and him both. You both seem to not be good with crowds. I'd like to see that, actually. Though I don't think it would be nearly the spectacle of what Family Jewels did in the Runaway Guys Coliseum. I don't think, like, I personally don't see that as Norton, like, has feelings for Sharon and is just trying to say, oh, that guy you're currently with is a jerk, you should be with, and implicitly thinking, oh, you should be with me instead. I don't think it's like that. I think it's more that he's just concerned for her. As, you know, fellow guards of Welt. But this event, this is the big one. Flu? Oh yes. Yes, this means exactly what you think it means. And now, you have a choice. You can choose to promote Raffin here, or you can choose to not only refuse to promote Raffin, but if you make this choice, Raffin hooks up with Esther in the epilogue. So, choosing the flute is the doubly correct choice. I can't believe that's actually a thing. So yeah, this actually does affect who Raffin ends up with in the ending. If you choose the flute, not only do you get this, but Raffin hooks up with Sharon in the epilogue. And if you refuse it, he ends up with his adoptive sister. Raffin is a Wyvern Knight now. Not only does he gain a bonus to stats, but he is now the only 8-move flyer in the game, and the only flyer who can use lances while dismounted. So, if you thought Raffin was good already, he is now even more ridiculous. This is why a lot of people swear that Raffin must be Ha's distant ancestor. That is the only explanation. I still can't believe that, like, I'm saying it again, but it's just like, you can choose either a really broken character, or intentionally refusing the power boost, and having him hook up with his sister. I mean, you know, honestly, in my first playthrough, I probably should have done that, just because I chose Luca, and I want to maybe show events that nobody else has seen, but I'm not going to do that to Raffin, I'm sorry. I'm not doing that to him. Plus, I definitely like Raffin and Sharon as a pairing. Here's some extra scenes from the party that I didn't see due to lacking certain characters on Runen's team.